So, hi. In this video, we will talk about will AMC squeeze next week? Same for GameStop. Is Beyond ready now? What the fuck is FFAI doing? What is this little candle here on Bed Bath & Beyond? And what will happen with SAVA in the next 2 or 3 weeks? If you're interested, just stay tuned. As always, if you're interested, I will link the Fractal Method video at the end of the video, or you just search for the Fractal Method. I made a playlist for it. So there I explain it step by step. So let's start with Beyond today. So for this video, I will explain everything so that just people have the whole explanation in one video. So for Beyond started its fractal near its C point, near its peak. We kind of see a little bit of B, but we don't see a higher low or the previous V. Then also interesting for the meme synchronicity, when AMC and GME squeezed, Beyond in January already did its lower peak and was falling. So the big run for Beyond was before AMC and GME moved. Only thing is, if not the absolutely bearish version for AMC and GME taking place, where we are squeezing in April or even worse next year, I think this time, in the best case, we see the run to our A for Beyond before AMC and GME is going. Because doing this whole thing, I think that would take too much time. But for the tracking, we did our lower peak. We fall back to our midpoint. The midpoint is our next B price target, around 43. Then we made a lower low, again came up to our T. Our T line is again our price target for our next macro A. And then the T, the last time to sell, we fell down to our V. And then the important part starts, where we will look in a second. So here's the important part. Because we have sadly still two versions. We start with the bearish one. With the bearish version, I mean for the bearish and for the bullish version, both made their absolute low on October 16, this point here. And then there are two versions. The bearish version is that this whole thing is just our higher low. In that case, it isn't finished, because that means that this section here from November 21st till last Friday is just our T. And in that case, if you look, we still have a gap between 88 and 66 cents. And because of the rules, the T can only be finished when it goes lower where it started. That means it has to drop lower than 80 cents. So it would look something like this. But if we break this line here, I think we will get there. Yeah. So we would just go to 66 cents, then making a micro higher low, and then the run starts. The bullish alternative to this is that our higher low, the big one here, this big one, ended in November 21st with a perfect V and A, and this whole thing is just a micro higher low. And there are also two important dates, because the higher low ended on November 21st. November 21st. And this micro higher low ended on December 31st. Why are they so important? I tell you, remember these 2 dates. It's very interesting. So for this, if this is not T, just a little micro higher low, then this micro higher low already ended. After we ended this micro higher low, we broke out. We made our little micro A. We made a breakout retest on January 14, and we broke out again. That's the only reason I say this thing looks fucking bullish. Just saying. If this could just be a little micro higher low to this A, would this micro higher low be finished? If we're not just going up next Tuesday because Monday is free, there's still a possibility we have to come down here. So that would be 94-ish. Just to ending this micro higher low, and then we go. There would be a third version where we say this whole thing is just higher low, a micro higher low to this one. In that case, we would still have to come lower than 86 cents. So this would be your top, your lower high, your midpoint. Somewhere in here would be a T, and you have to go down here. And this would be your B, and this would be your A. But I mean, it would look weird. Just saying. I'm leaning more to the version we are finished. And we go. So 4 levels. Let's start with the upward levels. Everything over 110. Absolutely fucking bullish. As I'm always saying, everything over 125, there is no alternative to the downside anymore. If we go down, and if we break 90 cents, first of all, that would be bearish. Second, your last chance is that we bounce around 86 cents. But in my opinion, if you break under 82 cents, you will get there. For the levels to the upside, if we are bullish, our next target is for a something between 30 and 50. Then most likely you will do a breakout retest of the big trend line or just a 0.5. Then you will go up to a B. Something 70, 43, doing a 0.5 pullback from your A low to your B. And then the only question is, are you breaking all-time highs or not? From speed, how quick could that be? And here comes again the problem with we never saw the big A and the big B. We only saw how quick the higher low was. So in the best case, we're doing the same shit again. We just speed up one candle or a few candles up to our A, perfect. But we never saw it. So it could also be quite slow. I'm not talking about years, but maybe 2 months. But we should see a chat test here. It looks good. Let's see what next week brings us. Okay. Next one, FFAI. So here again, full explanation today. FFAI started in its C. In its peak from IPO, maybe we see a little bit here from our B, but we never really saw our big A, our big B. And the thing is, In 2021, FFAI got its top after AMC and GME squeezed. So maybe, or nearly during the run, yeah. So this thing could run with AMC and GME, if there's any synchronization. Then it went down, made its lower peak. We fall again lower to our M. Again, this M would be our next macro B point. But as I'm always saying, you won't see one share at $5,000. Yeah, not without a split. Yeah. Then you fall back, came up to your T. T, as always, would be our macro A, our next one. For this, I could see, in the best case, a possibility you see one share at 152. But in my opinion, without a split, this is your line you won't cross. So you won't come up, reject, and die without a split. Okay, then you drop to your lowest low. Then you did a higher low, and that's what we are looking right now. So this is our higher low, which started April 22 to April 17 instead of November 21, but it's close enough. It's ended perfectly in a BYND. And after that, we just added a micro higher low, which ended on December 31st. Perfect in a BYND. And also again, December 31st. And then we just added a little smaller higher low. I always said I want to see a move from January 9 to February 19. Since January 9, we're just going sideways, but I really don't think we do some bullshit like this till November. So I really want to see up or down in the next Tuesday, in the best case. For this little higher low, we have our little higher low, our little A, little B, C, L, M, T. And on January 9th, we got our T. Then I'm always saying, I'm not interested in double buttons. And this is no landmark for me. But on Friday, we got this little wick down. So the best case, this was our V. And we go. Because it's already the second micro higher low. Yeah? For levers. Everything over 115, bullish. Everything over 133, mega bullish. Everything over 168, we don't see that anymore in my opinion. For the downside, everything under $1 is already bearish, but you still would have some place here. But everything under 94 cents, especially because it would just kill all these things here. So I'm not seeing that yet, but always have an alternative. And of course, breaking 87. And this play is that. So now to the things I want to show. A second. So the first one I want to show is on the left side, this is still now. Yeah, 2026, 2025. On the right side, on the 1 hour, this is November 24 till December 2024. Yeah? Our last real big run. And if you look at this, you see the same thing. You made your absolutely low. You made your absolutely low. You make a big higher low. You make a big higher low. You're going sideways. You're going sideways. Yeah? I mean, if you zoom in here, you would see micro higher lows. And then the important thing, you see this little candle here. That would mean the next candle would bring us somewhere around 330. Yeah? An instant chat, instant knife, and after that, you get the squeeze. I can't say if we need this candle, but there's also another instance of that. So Here again, left side is today, right side is May 2024. Also, that the last biggest run from $1 to 155. And if we zoom here, we say the same shit again. Yeah? We made a lower low, lower low. We made a big higher low. We made a big higher low, which ended in a higher low, V under A. Then we did sideways shit, slightly uptrending, sideways shit, slightly uptrending. And again, such a monster candle. This time, this monster candle would run up to $4 or $5. Then pullback, and then after that, we got this massive run. So maybe this candle is something important. Yeah. Just saying, if we next week or the next several weeks see a candle up here, but we are rejecting somewhere around 350-ish or something around 6-7-ish, you will know that is this massive candle. And you will know we will come back down, but it shouldn't take long to really start running. Yeah? Just saying. It still looks absolutely fantastic. Let's see what happens. Okay. Next one is Bad Puff and Beyond. Also here, 2 versions. Yeah. Sadly, we are still not in a place where I can say it's only 1 version. We are tracking from March 2020 till today. Yeah. We have our nice run with V, high, low, A, B, C. Bad Puff and Beyond already topped before AMC and GME growth. And already did its lower peak before AMC and GME growth. So I think this time the synchronization for this is off. The only possibility to repeat that would mean AMC and GME squeeze next year. Then this is possible. If not, there is no synchronization with that anymore. So we did our lower peak. We fall down to our M. Our M should be for the bullish tracking our next B around $36. We fall back, make a lower low. This would be our T, last time to sell before the V. This is our A line, and that would be our price target for A, around $20 to $16-ish. We made our V on April 25. So let's zoom in. And since the V, we did a little micro higher low. Perfect. We did the big higher low, which ended on December 31st again. And we broke out. So the only question is, there are 2 ways. Is this here already the breakout and we are just going up? Yeah. In that case, our next target is A around $20 to $15. If not, I already marked it here. This would just be a micro higher low. Yeah. And in that case, we would be already at the peak of it. So this would be our C already. And we would have to come down, making our lower high, midpoint T, V under A. Yeah. So in that case, our V under A is at 590. Then this would be finished and it will go up. So I can't really be bearish or bullish right now. Yeah. For this, I really need price movements. For levels, if you go to the upside and break 858, bullish. If you break 970, alternative is gone. To the downside, I would say if you break under 642, you will do the V under A at 589. Yeah. For the bearish alternative, if you break under 550, this would be fucking bearish. because in that case, this isn't high or low. This is T. And that means you have to make new lows. Yeah, just saying. But all in all, for the bullish version, this would just be higher low. And the next move would be A, pullback, B, pullback, C. Yeah. And if we're repeating 2021, you won't see these pullbacks. Yeah, because you have pullbacks here, but no 0.5 pullbacks. You would just a steady climb to the upside. It looks interesting. It looks fucking interesting. Okay. Next one, SAVA. So this time, again, the full story. Why are we looking at SAVA? It's because it's a bio company. It's still because it's doing always the same. It gets a peak. It gets a gap down. It's doing bullshit. It fills the gap with one or a few candles. It gets a peak. It gets a gap down. It's doing bullshit. It gap fills with one candle. It gaps down. It's doing bullshit. It runs up and fill the gap. Same here. Gap down, bullshit, gap up. And for Fractal wise, what we are doing, this whole thing since December 2018 till today, no, not till today, till April 2025, this is one Fractal. And for the bullish tracking, you have your V, your higher low, your A, your B, your C, lower high, midpoint, T. Then massive gap down. And in April 2025, for the bullish tracking, we did our V under A. So what did we do since then? So the whole thing here is just our big high low. And for the bullish tracking, we finished this big high low on December 31st. So what did we do then? We added a little higher low. Here's our little higher low, which started on December 31st. And in the most bullish way, we finished last Friday. And to say this company is always starting its moves Friday pre-market, Friday after hours, which it clearly didn't do, and Monday pre-markets. Okay, next Monday is closed. So the next chance for the next gap up is Tuesday. So for this, we really have to go on the 5 minute because we have two ways here. So, because you could easily say your A is here. Yeah? In that case, your V under A is at $2.02. But I'm always saying only a bounce at the V under A isn't working. So you have to be at least 1 cent under it. That means we didn't do it. So if this is true, the whole next week, we will maybe be going a little bit up. And the whole week we are fighting so we can get till Friday to $2.01. Or if you look, you see this, if you really zoom, you see this little point here. Yeah. This little point means only that here was an order, you fell down again, and then you came up. And I saw that in the last minute. So that could mean this could be your A. In that case, this is your A bottom. If this is your A bottom, and you take the line exactly to this little point, that means here is your B bottom. Perfect. So you could easily see this is your B, this is your A. That means here is your A bottom. So we made our lower high, our midpoint, which came lower. So you can start your T. You did your T peak. You fell under where it started. You fell under V and A in the best case. this was our V. And we are ready. Yeah. For levels. So everything over 2.28 is bullish. Everything over 351, I think we don't see anymore because we just run and gap fill. What gap fill? Just a gap fill around $25. Instant gap fill. For targets to the downside, I still have to say, sorry, if you break 196, you will make a new all-time low. Yeah? In that case, it's still, as I'm always saying, this version here in December 2018, you would be right here right now. You would fall, make a new all-time low. This here would be the next 6 months, in my opinion, till June, July. And then you have the next chance to get there. Yeah. This is really a 100% risk play. But if you get there, it's a money-making machine. Okay, next one, AMC. So today, again, the full story. Bullish version, bearish version, catastrophic version, and something interesting. So for the bullish version, we have a megaphone pattern. For the megaphone pattern, whenever we are finished, our next price target is up here again. That means if we're going in January and June, your price target is 876-ish, something like that. Also, I am tracking for a 2-part squeeze just because we are looking for a repeat of 2021. Yeah? And that means there is no 1-part squeeze. There is a possibility for a 1-part squeeze, but I will come to that later. So if we are finished down here and we go up, to where would the 1-part squeeze go? Well, we have this trend line here. For the 1-part squeeze, we have to come over it. And like in 2020, we will come up and retest this trend line again. In that case, so let's say, where was it? 148, 50 was our bottom. So our price target for January would be around 144, 45, 141. Because you would come up and you will come down and do a 0.618 breakout retest. Then you're doing this shit and then you go. Why a 0.618 retest? Well, we look back in 2021, we take from our absolute low to our peak, and you see it's a breakout retest nearly on the 0.618. So I think we will do that. The same, I think we won't get a B pullback because your B is somewhere here. We didn't get a pullback, we just ran through it. And I think the question, can we squeeze from the bottom, is already answered because we didn't. Except we maybe didn't find the bottom yet. But if we found the bottom yet, no squeeze from the bottom. So as I'm always saying, you see that in AMC too, there was never a squeeze from the bottom. You always did a higher low. So let's zoom in. So here is already all the versions which we could do, in my opinion, right now. So if January 8th was the lowest point we get, we did a little micro high low with a perfect BYND. Since then, we're making our bigger higher low, which also ended in a BYND. And I said already in the last videos, if we come near this point, if you come near 160, this could be your last cheapest buying target. Yeah? So there are 3 versions right now. That means this was already our higher low. This was our V. What happens next? Well, I would like to see from Tuesday on upside. That means anything over 180, but nothing bigger than 190-ish. Just saying, this would be just your B. Then you make a 0.5 pullback from this low to this peak. Yeah, so maybe you're coming a little bit lower. Then you come up again and make your C. But this C wouldn't go, in my opinion, over $2. This is your middle A. And that's important. Because if we do that, let's say we really do that in the next 1 or 2 weeks, you take from your bottom, absolute low, to your peak, 0.5, and then your target is the 0.5 pullback. In that case, 168 is your last buy-in, because after that comes the squeeze. Yeah. So for the alternative, you have 2 ways. One bullish one, that means this shitty thing here is just the T from this thing. That's also why I wanted to see on Friday a break over 168. That's also why I had this outlet here, because if we would have broken that, this alternative would be gone, because the T can't be higher than the M, and you can't put M anywhere else. Would have been nice, but didn't happen. So for the not so bullish version would be this was your T. That means you still has to come lower than 152, our old price target for the higher low. So you still have to come to 158. That means from Tuesday on, you will drop. But you won't make a new low, and you will bounce at 151, 150, 148-ish. And then you're doing the B, C, 0.5 pullback, ready to run. The only bearish alternative for all this thing is, this wasn't our V. This whole thing is just a bounce because we just dropped over weeks. And we still have to find our low, which my opinion would be around $1.27, $1.30. I also have a reason for that. I will show that. But after that, again, we won't squeeze from the low. We have to do our higher low, most likely our A, our 0.5 pullback, and go. But this could still be February, just saying. Okay, so for levels, if you go up and everything over 168, bullish. Yeah, everything over 180, and we're doing version 1. If you drop under 154, you still have the chance to bounce around 150 to 148-ish. And this would just be V and A. And you're still doing version 1. If you break under 146, you will find a new low. So now to the version, why I think that. So this one, just one thing. This idea isn't coming from me. It comes from my colleague Brew. Just saying, because I'm not using other ideas as it would be my idea. This idea is, it's a combi chart of AMC plus GME together. That means this whole thing is AMC and GME just mixed together. And GME has a bigger weight to it because it's the bigger stock. But you easily see that it looks quite similar. The interest is quite similar to AMC and quite similar to GME, because a combined chart. The interesting part here is, if you look at 2020 and 2021, the 3 double bottoms like AMC is the same, but we didn't end it in a lower low. We ended in 2 higher lows. It's even, this is an even more perfect fractal chart than AMC and GME. So we did a perfect higher low in October 2020. We did another micro perfect higher low in 2021. Then we ran also with a 2-part squeeze, A, pullback B. This whole thing since 2020, since April 2020 till April 2024, this whole thing would just be higher low, because also here it ended in a higher low, not in a lower low. And then, like GME, which will come after this, we just made a micro higher low. Yeah? So for this, just for the explanation, because also interesting, the difference to GME. Because in GME, because this is clearly looking like GME in the last months. Yeah? We didn't make a higher low. Yeah? GME made here a higher low. The combined chart made a lower low. So it could be something, it could be nothing. But what I want to say is, this whole thing is higher low. A higher low is ending in a V under A or in a 0.706. Yeah? In that case, this peak here on December 8th was your T. The same I'm thinking on GME. And you still have to come down to your V under A. Yeah? That would be around 1906. So you could say this level here would be 17-ish for GME. That means the price is the combination of AMC plus GME. That means if GME is here at 17, AMC would be at $1.2725-ish. Yeah. So if this combined chart really has to do this, I think AMC and GME still have to come lower. We will see. Yeah. Also, if we zoom in, this T is not finished, because you have your C, your lower high, your midpoint, and this is too small for T. So this is T. So we have at least to come under this, same like the GME chart. So for the combined chart, I could easily say that AMC is not finished, or that GME still have to come lower. But I really think that both still have to do a pullback, and I really want to see that next week. Because if you're doing that next week, it's a short week, most of the time, right? We are finished. And one last thing. Just for AMC. Just for the people who really want a 1-part squeeze. I will show now a bearish version. I am not thinking that, just saying, but always have an alternative. So for the bearish version, for a 1-part squeeze, whatever we are doing right now, we still get a chat test. But that means that May was our M. It's breaking so many rules. That's why I really don't like it. But if May is our big M, we didn't got our T yet. That means for a 1-part squeeze, whenever we are finished down here, we will come up, still a chat test, but we won't break this level here. And this would be our T. Yeah. We will reject here. We won't go over our last peak, 1328, or at least we not even go over this trend line. We'll knife again, make new lows, higher low. And to make that absolutely clear, this version takes you at least to 2027. Yeah. So I'm not thinking that. And I don't want to worry you. But let's say we're doing this, we're doing all this bullshit here. We're going up, and suddenly we are here at $10-ish. And we can't get through this line. And we're already pulling back. Be careful. No financial advice. Be careful. If we're doing this stupid thing, this could be your T. And that would be really, really bad. Okay. Last one. So, GME. Normally, nothing has changed. Just a little story. I got a little bit absolutely worried. Yeah. Because if you look at this one here, this is the weekly chart for GME. And my tracking was this is high or low. And because of that, after that comes our big A. But if you look at this chart, this can't be high or low. Because here's a lower low. So now if you press on TradingView, adjust data for dividends, suddenly this looks absolutely different. This is a higher low. So I really got worried, because if we're saying this is not higher low and this would be just T, then this would be higher low. In that case, our price target is down here, $2. This really worried me for the last 2 hours. It really freaked me out, but because that would be fucking bad. I even looked at data charts, not on TradingView, to see what was this low here and what was this low here. And I even asked other people. So to make that absolutely clear, the low in 2003 was 63 cents. The low in 2020 was 64 cents. So 2020 was higher. Okay. So this is higher low. Everything is fine. So this was just a big high low. What we did since 2020 was just a pullback. That means also that this A pullback, an A pullback is going to a 0.5 or a 0.618. So in that case, this is close enough, in my opinion, for the bullish alternative, for the bullish version. This was just our A. Right now we're doing higher low. Next version, next target is our B. Where would this be? I think on this trend line here. Yeah. Because we broke it in 2008, but since it's still a trend line. So maybe we're breaking over it a little bit. Yeah. So the price target is around 300 to 500, but nothing crazy like $2,000. Just take. What would happen after that? Well, we would now go up. Then we take the low of A to wherever the peak of B is. And this would be our 0.5 pullback. So in this case, $64. And then we still have to do C. But I think no one will be interested in it anymore. But as for now, that would be the price target. Before we look closer, if we are finished, what right now would be the alternative? The only alternative right now, bearish alternative right now for GME would be that this is not a higher low of A. This would be just M. Yeah. In that case, we still have to come lower than 9.696. Come up again, would make our T, and then we have to drop to our 0.5 around $9, and then we can go. This would take years, I tell you that. Yeah. Not seeing that yet. Yeah? So for our bullish tracking heads, now we look closer to this. So here the bullish tracking means two ways. Everyone is saying this is higher low. Remember when I showed on the combat chart that this here was a lower low? Yeah? In GME, in the whole tracking, it's a higher low. Yeah? But let's say this is higher low, which I'm not agreeing with, but let's say that only means we have to go up. We won't break $30. This would be our A. Then we just take the 0.5. This would be the pullback. And then we go. And at this point here, both AMC and GME will sync up and both will go. What I'm thinking is that this T is not finished yet. Yeah. And we still have to come lower to 1758. I'm also okay with somewhere in this range, but in my opinion, we have to break 1961. Yeah. Why? Well, you could easily say this T is finished because it's lower where it started, but this T, in my opinion, isn't finished. You have to come lower than this. And the combat chart is also showing that. And if we even go into tiny micro tracking, what we did since January 31, higher low, C, lower high, and this Friday we just made the M. And for the M to be finished, we have to come lower than this. Would come up T. And if we're doing that, I think we will break 1961 and down. I know I said in the last videos, the two datas again here is Friday 21st from November. This is Wednesday 31st of December. It's the same date like BYND and FFAI. So yeah, I could be wrong here. And we would go up. In my opinion, we will get our answer next week Friday and next week Tuesday. If we're going up, we will go up next week. We won't break this in my opinion and doing the 0.5. Perfect. If it's downside, we should also see the start on Tuesday. I don't think we do this stupid sideways shit anymore. We should get an answer. But let's see. Okay. I think, yeah. As always, if you liked it, leave a like. The explanation video I will put here. Playlist here. And if you want to see more, abo here. Let's see what happens next week. See ya.